I'm Tamima, and this is Real Talk. Thanks for tuning in. Tonight, we celebrate ordinary men and women who have dedicated their lives to helping others. My first guest tonight is fondly known as Daddy Muli. He is the founder of Muli's Children Home, and through his work, he has touched over thousands of children across the land of Kenya. Welcome to the show, Dr. Charles Muli. It's such a pleasure to meet such an honorable guy like yourself. Without a doubt, more of us should hope to do even a drop of what you've been able to achieve, the number of lives you've been able to touch. Maybe just walk me through, how did you get into philanthropy? When did you know that this is what I want to do with my life?
Well, back when I was 6 years old, a time when I was living in a turmoil. That means that I had nobody to help me. I was rejected by my parents and then left alone to live on my own. And through that for over 10 years. And then I wanted to commit my suicide, having all the problem, hopelessness and so forth. And through Christ Jesus, I got to know him and I surrendered my life to him at the age of 16 years. And through that, it made a big difference. When I trusted him, started praying, then I started, going to the city to look for a job. Out of that, I got a job and then got another job where it was.
So it was through your own personal pain and struggle when now you realize kama umepitia hii through your childhood, lazima there are other people who are also going through the same thing. So which is that one defining moment that really inspired you and you're like, I have to start something, some organization, and do it in a more structured way?
In the year 1989, that was really November 17th, I remember very well, about 29 years ago. Really, I could not work. I was doing a big business and I was a wealth person at the age of 40 years. As you know, when somebody gets money, you want to be somebody to be respected. I didn't mention about my time in the past to my friend and to whatever I was doing. And therefore, one day, I drove to the city of Nairobi. That was way back 1986. And my car was stolen by street boys. And therefore, that one taught me a lesson because I did not give them money, neither bought bread for them, neither supporting them in any way. And therefore, for 3 years, 1986 to 1989, November 17, that's when I was accosted to much problem. Because when I saw children, now eyes, I saw myself. And there was only one voice: you must take care of the children, those who were suffering.
So it was like a voice inside you nagging you, you must do something, you must do something.
And I was crying 4 hours in the car, and I was feeling like, God, what do you want me to do? I've come up this way, I have wealth, I have money, I have a family. What is that you want to do? You want to take me down to the poverty life of hopelessness, and that's why after struggling for 4 hours, there was assurance, and that's when I got the real vision and the mission to.
So this vision and mission that became very clear, what was it?
It was, mainly to get the hopeless children, orphan children, and the mothers and the street, people in our country. And it was for me to be the father to the fatherless by providing food, by providing the education, healthcare, clothing, shirt, everything, as I was there for them. So that's how it started. And of course, I went to the street.
So that is how you became Daddy Muli now?
Yes, you can now imagine it. From that time, when I went to the street, these young people didn't know me, the street boys in Nairobi and Eldoret, and therefore I had to apply another mechanism, because when I said Jambo, they were not for it.
They did not trust you.
They never trusted me at all. And so I came up with a good word, shalom, peace, and in another word, oi. When I said oi, then they looked at me, oh, that's how I was accepted by the street boys, street girls, and all kind of people who had no hope.
What did your family make of this decision? Now, when you came and told them, my mission and vision in this life is very clear, what was their first reaction?
In the evening, of course, my wife prepared dinner, and we were around the table. And then I told them, I have something very important I want to share with you. And they could not really believe what kind of, what is that I want to tell them. But then I broke up and I said to them, my family, my dear wife, I'm very, very, very happy. I never said I regret or I am so sad, but I said I'm so happy that God has completely called me to be the father to the fatherless, to give them and provide food, fatherly love, food, education, and everything. And after all, to empower them to become self-reliant.
So, in the beginning, the people that you were trying to help, the street children, street girls, even the families on the street, they didn't trust you. So you had to work very hard to gain their trust. But was it easy financially now that you had decided this is the path that I want to take?
I was a very committed Christian, and I was also a leader in a church in Eldoret, and having been a shepherd of the people and also being a good example to my own family, I knew for sure, and the assurance that God gave me, I knew it was love, number one, loving for all those people and loving also my own family and my wife. And I respected them so much. And through the power of God, through His Son, Jesus Christ, I was able to use that. And by faith, I was able to bring all these children. I brought the youth, the young people, girls 16 years old, 18 years old, boys, and all of them. And in a short while, I had more than 177 children.
So, when you say you brought them into your own personal home.
Yes.
So how big was this house to house 100 children? Ama ilikuwa ni ile sasa tunapangana kama Britannia kwa box. Bora kila mtu analala.
Yeah, indeed, it was not like a bother where somebody should sleep. The only thing that was my concern is to see that all of us, we are able to be somewhere together and be able to eat together. And, some of these young people, I had taken them to the church where I used to be, and almost over 200 of them, the church elders and even the pastor, they rejected them. They told me I cannot bring children from the street who were dirty, who were robbers and the prostitutes to the church. And that was one of the first challenge that I faced. And how do I deal with these people, the pastors and the elders and the members of the church? And here I have my family already. They had accepted my vision and my mission. That was a big, big, big thing. But out of that and the rejection from the church, I decided to extend my own residential family and expanded, and then in the same compound built a school for the children, because they were not only there to eat, but also to be educated.
So where did you get the teachers to teach them?
I was able to establish a system of education to those young people who does not want to learn, because they are used to the drugs and all manners of industry.
So it wasn't the traditional learning, but it was an education that would allow them to at least be well equipped with skills to make something of themselves?
Yes, they were there. Of course, I employed the teachers. I had more than 10, and then I employed more and more. And so I taught them, and the main thing was about to know about the Lord because they never knew about God. I taught the children about how to respect others, how to love others, and how to love God.
At any point, did you get any form of support, maybe from the government or any government agencies in your area?
The first thing that I got from the government was like welcoming the idea. Because those days was long time ago. There were no...
It's like 20 years back.
There were no children's home. 1986, 89, 1990, there were no children's home. I was the first African to come up with an idea and really not coming to look for money because I had my money. I had the properties and I adored it.
So basically you were funding this from your own pocket?
From my own pocket because of the passion and that vision that God gave me, I gave everything. And as the money was going down in the bank, still I started selling the properties that I had. But after about 6 years, when now I felt like, okay, and my wife was really worried, now what do we do? That through prayers, because I believe so much in prayer, and anything that I relate on God by faith, it happens. Because I was sure that God would not let me down. Therefore, as now I was going down on the level of resources.
Expensive. It costs money to feed, to clothe,
yes.
to educate.
Clothings.
Yes.
Yeah, everything.
Health.
It was a lot of involvement. But people were touched when they saw the kid and we went to churches, they preached, they gave testimonies, they sang. We had the best choir in those time. And
Fondly known as Daddy Muli, he has been impacting lives for 30 years and he has helped over 13,000 beneficiaries. Presently, you have 3,500 kids in the home right now.
3,500.
As we speak today.
As we speak today. This day.
So there are those well-wishers who will come occasionally, contribute, sponsor the children at various levels. But then also, because you're an entrepreneur, you have developed sustainable ways through which you can support this vision and mission. Maybe just tell us a bit about that.
I decided now to get into sustainability program because anything that we do must bear also fruits. And out of that, I decided to start farming. And the farming was when we left the Eldoret Rift Valley, when there was chaos in the year 1992. Then we went to Machakos. I bought a piece of land, and I started now putting up, crops and using irrigation, which also came to be a bigger one. And after 10 years, we were accredited by the European Union for the best practice in agriculture and export.
So you actually export these products to Europe and the rest of the world.
Yes,
and you've created employment for over 1,000 youth.
We have been really exporting French bean vegetables to Europe, especially Germany and the Netherlands, over the last 20 years now. And we have also the best system in Kenya on using irrigation. And then over 1,000 people from the communities, not only from Machakos or Matu, but across the country in Kenya, where we have all these people who work for Muli Children Family, and they get money. The government also is benefiting out of what we export because we earn foreigner, exchange.
Taxes.
Yeah, we are building our economy through that, and therefore this sustainability program has been able also to bring us again to climate change initiative, water conservation, planting of trees. We have planted over 5.8 trees.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So I want to ask you, because I understand that you are also the subject of an Oscar-nominated Best Documentary in which you star yourself. Maybe tell us about that project, please.
Really, it was like a dream, really, just like a really dream. But by God's grace, I was able to. There is a book written about Muli.
So this is a book about your life.
Yeah, my life. And that book was read by somebody. When he read in USA, in Atlanta, he said, well, I've read your book, but this book that you have read, I would like it to put into a movie. And then he hired people from the Hollywood in Los Angeles. And then those people came. It took about 3 years for them to produce the movie.
Oh, wow.
And that movie won over 13 international awards.
So, maybe tell us, who are Janet and Geoff Benge? Because they wrote the book. This all started with Janet and Geoff. Who are they to you? How did they come to write the book?
The book was written in the year 2003. There was a volunteer from Canada. His name is Paul Mboge. And Paul Mboge came all the way to Kenya, and he taught for 3 months physics and mathematics. And therefore, he asked me if he could write my story, my life. And out of that book was Father to the Fatherless. Then he felt like, wow, allow me to take this book to our country in Canada. And therefore, it went there, it won the first award.
So this book has also been translated into many languages, I understand?
Yeah, the book itself, Father to the Fatherless, has been translated in over 6 languages, including Germany, French, and Swahili, of course, and Baba or Mayatima. And Chinese as well, Chinese, Korean, and you see, it has also won many awards in different countries. And one of the things for me, as a Christian, I find that God used that to reach out to many people across the globe to understand the power of forgiveness. Because I forgave my own parents who really abandoned me. After forgiving them, they were so happy. They were really very poor. And then I brought them. So the power.
If you look back at all the lives you have touched and what you've been able to accomplish, so what are you most proud of? What's that one thing you're like, you know what, all these accolades aside, all this recognition aside, this is the one thing that, as Daddy Muli, this just makes me proud. That's my legacy.
The most, as I talk now when I'm alive, and by the way, I'm now waiting for 1 week and to turn 70 years.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So with that birthday, when I look back and then see over 13,000 plus and over 670,000 young people who have been also touched indirectly or direct, changing their life for Christ, changing their life mentally, and be able to really to move forward, become self-reliant. And some of these young people whom I found completely helpless in drugs, and now some of them, they are doctors, they are engineers, preachers, they are everywhere. They are married, they have their own family, and they can support their own family. There is nothing else in this world that I could compare and that could give me a joy than the change of the lives of all those, and even a life of a child, changing one child at a time.
Absolutely. I think, without a doubt, Daddy Muli is such an inspiration. Here today we are celebrating ordinary people who have made remarkable differences in the lives of others. If there's somebody who's touched your life, let us know here on Real Talk. We'll shout them out, celebrate them tonight on the show. Still more to come here on Real Talk. Don't go too far. We'll be right back. Remember, tonight we are celebrating giving back. I want to introduce my next guest, Frederick Mora. He's the founder of Joy Divine, an organization that rescues street children, puts them through education, and reconciles them with their families. Frederick, welcome to Real Talk.
Thank you, Tamima, for
And you know, it's funny, when I was being briefed on today's show, and like I was telling you earlier, so I saw the name of your organization. I was like, I know that organization, because in a sense, you and you've touched my life. Probably, maybe just allow me to just share the story, because I think I called like over 10 to 15 organizations because of a boy. And it's so funny because he's here with us today, Peter. Peter, how are you? Peter, how did you and I meet?
So I was at the streets of Nairobi, and Tamima was on her way going home. Then I walked beside her at the back. Then she was like, what is this street kid about for me? You know, she was thinking that I was about to steal her handbag, and she would catch it. Then I walked to her, asked her for food. But she told me, before I give you food, what are you doing here and what brought you here? So I shared my story to her. She understood me and she left me her number. You can imagine, guys, that she bought me a full chicken. Even I didn't finish this chicken. So she left me her number, and then I was like, you know, I lied to her that I want to go to school. In 2017, I thought, let me call this lady and ask her that I want to go to school. You can imagine, for 1 year, I'd hold her number in my mind. Her number was in my mind. So I called her with her phone number, and she came. She told me that she has got an organization called Joy Divine, and she would connect me to the children's home. So it was on a Sunday when this guy and another guy came, and they took me to Joy Divine. And then I thank the Lord that Tamima connected me to a better place. Thank you.
I think, really, I listened to him and I gave him my number. And I think, like he said, he kept my number in his head that whole period of time. So when he called me, I knew I had to help him. But to get him help. Now, the more that I dug deeply into how can I get this boy help, I realized that the government was missing. A lot of the organizations that I was dealing with was private individuals. So finally, I called Frederick. And I think by that time when I called Frederick, I think Frederick was like, this chick is in tears. So you're like, you had to help me.
I think that's what we're called to do. We're called to do something for this generation, because we do know that there's a big challenge, as you've said, in our towns and our cities. And if we become stagnant or reluctant, the more of them will die. So we'd rather do our thing this time, because we don't know what lies ahead for us tomorrow. Yeah.
And I think really that for me really is even one of the reasons why we started this show, so that we can talk about such issues. I know young people love you. You love your entertainers, celebrities and whatnot, but I kid you not, the guys I have on this show tonight, these are the real heroes. These are the people that you want to emulate. These are the people that you want to be like, because what you guys are doing in the society, are you understanding? It goes beyond the number of followers you have. It goes beyond, you know, I'm so and so, I walk in, people do this. You're actually making a huge difference. Because if I look at Peter today, and I remember the Peter that I handed over to Joy Divine, you would never guess, looking at him today, that he was a former street child. You would never guess. And he got 327 marks.
321 marks.
Can you imagine? In KCP. Yeah. So clearly for me, Joy Divine is just a joyful and a divine place. So just tell us more about this program, because you know Peter is not the only beneficiary. It's something that, how did you start it?
Yeah, actually it's true. We have Robert with us over here, and we have Francis with us over here. Robert is a beneficiary. He's just finished 5 years of university at Jomo Kenyatta. Robert was shot during the post-election violence in 2007, and Francis' family lost everything during the post-election violence. And we opened up our doors again just to take them in. They're both mechanical engineers. One of the reasons why we do this is because we believe in us, we believe in Kenya, we believe in the children and the youths of this nation. We believe we can make a difference. Joy Divine I'm a co-founder, if you may say so, was began by my mom, Mary Njoki. She's a pastor, and she transformed her business premises to take in by starting a simple Uji program for children in the community and their families who couldn't afford food and even just to go to the local schools. So in 2000, that was in the year around 2000. In 2003, when the NAC government began the free primary education, all the initial children took advantage of the local schools. So the premises were available again. So she approached the then Mayor, Joe Kech, and we were given children by the government of Kenya. So these were 33 children fresh from the streets of Nairobi.
So, and mostly you work with boys, you rehabilitate boys.
We started out by, the initial children that were given to us were boys, but right now we also have girls. So it's open to both genders.
How bad would you say the situation is on the ground?
It's really bad. It's really bad. I may say we really need to step up our efforts. We thank God for our pioneers like Daddy Muli, what he's done. And I feel we need to like emulate him, and we need to step up, come up with more innovative ideas, better funding mechanisms, because even as Peter was saying, that while he's on the streets, the city council is on his case, because also the county askaris are under pressure to remove them. They want the streets to look clean, but the reality is that the numbers are continuously adding up. The initial group of children came to us because they lost parents due to a number of their parents passing on. And we really need to have more of an open discussion, because the numbers are really high on the streets. We have a weekly Uji program called the Uji Moto program. And at times we have as many as 300 to 500. At times it can go to as many as 700. So we wonder, where do these children come from? Then also, while you are on the ground, we get to see trends. Like this 2018, the trend has been a big number of children coming from Isiolo. We don't have the mechanism to ask ourselves, where are children coming from Isiolo?
Yes.
Where are they coming to Nairobi? Where are they coming to Mlango Kubwa? Or where are they coming to Eastleigh? What is driving them to come to this place? So are these children being trafficked? Is someone taking advantage of them? Why these trends? Why the numbers? Yeah, where are these children going to? If you also find out, the other trend is that recently there have been a higher number of children missing. You wonder, why are these children missing? Where are they going to?
Yeah, who is taking these children?
Who's taking these children? Yes. You know, are these children reported that they are missing by their families? The government is shifting away from children's homes now to family setting support. And I totally support that. We need to empower the families to now support these children and not putting them in institutions.
So basically, and I think that's one of the beautiful things about your organization, the fact that even as you're helping them, you try to ensure that they don't lose the linkage with where they are from.
Yes.
They're able to help back in their families, because in most of these family settings, he's not the only child.
Yeah.
There are other children after him.
Yes.
So you're trying to ensure that he can help the ones who are coming after him. I'm sure there are instances where you've had like several children from the same family just being on the street.
Yes, actually we've even raised up our whole families, like Robert's family. The sister just did Form 4 recently, and also we've also supported the brother, and it's also partnerships. We've worked with the government before. Initially, when the children were brought under our care, the parents were being given vocational training so that they can be empowered. And there are those who did very well, and we're able to reconnect these children with their families. But our biggest task ever since we started has been education, because education takes up a big chunk of the resources that we put to support these children. The laws of Kenya, the Children's Act says that a child should not stay within a children's zone for more than 3 years. We've broken that law because you've stayed with Robert for over 15 years, so that we can ensure he's empowered to be in a position where he can help out his family and he can help himself eventually.
You saw it through till the end. And maybe let's talk to Robert, because Robert, I understand that you've just graduated. So having been with Joy Divine for 15 years, I know right now they're like family to you, and you're also a mentor to the other boys that are coming up after you, boys like Peter.
Yeah, sure. Okay, first of all, I was also a street kid from Mombasa and then to Nairobi, and ever since I was connected to Joy Divine, I felt that it was the home that I wanted to be. They've supported me through the journey since primary school to high school, and I'm one of the first generation Joy Divine kids from the NAC government, and it has been a good journey. Right now, I recently graduated from JQuat with a degree in mechanical engineering, bachelor's, and it has been a good journey, and I'm so happy. And
I think I have a very youthful audience, and I think really for a lot of the guys in the audience, the lesson here is that you may be going to school. For you consider going to school a privilege that you feel your parents owe you. But you can imagine for someone like him, going to school was a different struggle altogether. So I hope it really makes you appreciate just the privilege you have to have parents who are able to put you through university. Right now, I just want to thank Frederick for coming on the show, because I really did not know. I knew literally when I was coming on the show that you're here today. And I think for me, it's such a blessing. Thank you so much. Remember tonight, our conversation on celebrating ordinary people in our society who are giving back in, extraordinary ways continues. You can join the conversation via the hashtag #RealTalkWithTamima on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. Has someone touched your life? Please let me know. Let's send that person out a shout out on this show tonight. But right now, I want to introduce my next guest, Wawira Njiru. So Wawira just came from South Africa, where she was a recipient of the Global Citizen Award. She's going to be telling us more about that. And of course, her program that feeds over 3,000 school-going children in Ruiru. And I also have with me Valentine Simei. She's the founder of Fast Track Mentors, which offers mentorship to the youth and donates sanitary pads to girls and sponsors boys in the buying of books and shoes for them to go to school. Welcome to the show. Oh my God, what an intro, you guys. Right? So maybe let's start with you, Valentine. Let's start with the organization Fast Track. So you do a lot to touch the lives of the less fortunate. So tell me about the mentorship program first.
7 years ago, I lost my father, and I am a firstborn of 6 girls. So having lost a dad at such a young age was challenging for me and my siblings. And now we had to deal with living without a male figure in our family. And my mom is not working, and my dad had been sick for several years. So the struggles really challenged me. Like at some point we had to sacrifice between food and sanitary towels, which of course we chose food. And I told myself and asked God that if you'll ever bless me, I will donate pads to support other girls. And then I was so touched also about the challenges widows go through. That is how we came up with the programs to empower women through agriculture and skills development and mentorship for the young boys and girls. At first, it was my intention was to empower families with girls only, but then I felt also the challenge that if girls get empowered, we'll marry them.
There you go.
Then how will the community be and the society at large? So slowly we incorporated the boys. We started with girls today, women tomorrow. I really want a society and a community where young girls and boys have role models and mentors, people they look up to. And that is how we started. Growing up after my father passed on, I had so many male people supporting me. Like I have a cousin, Dr. Nicholas Letting. He really held my hand, and I felt that I needed to give back. And having lost my father, at some point we really relied on Harambes, and when my siblings were going to school, all we had was from people who came with 50 shillings, 100 shillings to help us go to school. And I felt like I can't go back to the same people to give them their 50 and their 100. The only way I'll do that is transform a life, touch another life, and have a society where in our mentorship programs, we encourage young people to give. We started a Go Girl program, which asks every girl to bring 10 shillings per week to support them. We have a treasurer in every school, we have a chair and a secretary. who will be given the money and the patron, and they buy sanitary towels. And I realized...
So it's self-sustainable within the school?
Yes.
So you kickstart it off by donating, but then with
Yes.
time you want to encourage that community within the school
Yeah.
to take care of the girls who can't afford the pads.
Yes, and then from our interaction, I realized that most kids who struggle in school are either from single mothers or widows, and having seen my mother struggle to, take us through school and stuff, I started a program, we call it Badilisha Maisha. It's for singles, widows, and now teenage mothers. Back home in Nandi, we have so many cases of teenage mothers, and I really believe in second chances in life. So I give an opportunity to the girls by training them to do simple things like shaggy mats. We used to make bags using used polythene bags. Now we are using old clothes, and it's helping them to buy food for their kids and even sustain them. And then for having seen what the boys and girls go through because of being the single mothers, we thought maybe we need to encourage the mothers to do agriculture. Now that's back home, singles and widows fully own the land. So it's easy to work with them, do farming to sustain.
And it's self-sustainable as well?
Yes.
Okay.
We have, as I said, we have around 5 programs for mentorship. We have Boys to Men, which we have, apart from going around to the schools, we have a forum every August to invite men and young boys to speak to those boys on challenges of growing up, what is expected of them, through the Boys to Men mentorship. And then in December, we'll have one next week. It's a second time we are doing this. We invite women to speak to girls through Girls Today, Women Tomorrow. And then we go around to schools donating sanitary towels and shoes and bags through our in-school mentorship, where we encourage the boys and girls to stay in school, the importance of having good relationships with their families and their peers. And then we have, every year in December also, we have Game On Mentorship. If you've ever gone through the programs twice or thrice, you become a mentor after college. And having these guys become mentors makes them a bit more responsible. So those are the programs we have. December, we have competitions for the groups. Each family, we have families for the mentees, and each family has a teen, a junior, and a senior, and an explorer. So December is a time we all meet and have fun, cut a big cake, just dance, and then it's a time most of my mentors have time to interact with the mentees. And then a final program, we have Badilisha Maisha for the women, and a final one for rural out-of-school youth through farming. My first group of mentors are now in first year. They just joined first year in September. And some did not have the money to go back to go to college. Some are no longer maybe interested. And I found out that the only option we have back there is do farming. So we started Wezesha Vijana. It is a program that we give seedlings to the groups. I am now working with 60, 2 per ward. Nandi has 30 wards, so I have 2 per ward. Each of the 2 enrolls 10 others. So we'll have, and then I intend to do this for 2 years in 4 cohorts. And I have my first team of 60, and each of the 60 brings 10. So that is 600 in 6 months. We want to form an association of young farmers and maybe come up with a cooperative of vegetables for them.
Okay. So, but what I like about your programs is that you're very keen about the sustainability of it all.
Yes.
So it's not just about the charity, the handout. You're actually skill building.
Yes.
You're making sure that you're preparing these young men and women whose lives you're touching, so that if ever you have to exit the stage, they can actually pull up somebody else within their own community. Isn't that amazing, guys? Okay, now let me go to Wawira, because Wawira, you just got an award at the Global Citizen event that just went down in South Africa last month. Let's start with that feeling.
So it was an amazing feeling receiving the award, especially in front of so many people, being selected, especially young people from around the continent. So the event was held in Johannesburg. There were 80,000 people. There were musicians like Beyonce performing and all these different acts, Ed Sheeran and all that. So it was really incredible to be on stage and also to have food for education on that stage, and for people to now be curious about what we do and also support us. So it was a really great experience, yeah. A bit frightening, but great, yeah.
So tell us about what is the program Food for Education?
So Food for Education is essentially what the name says. We provide school meals to students in school, primary school students and ECD level students, so that they can stay in school and learn. So in January, we'll be providing 3,000 meals a day this month. And we are aiming to increase that to 20,000 by the end of this year. So if
I had to ask, what inspired you to start the program?
So I'm a nutritionist that's what I studied in school. So I'm very passionate about food and access to food, and hungry children can't learn. So for me, it was something that wasn't being addressed, and that I saw that I was very passionate about it because I know what happens when you don't get the right nutrition. Like, children won't develop properly, their IQ, their physical growth. So I wanted to mitigate that by providing nutritious meals to students so that they can learn.
So how does your program work? You work with the schools to tailor-make the menus, or do you bring the food to the schools?
We produce in one kitchen, and then we distribute food to schools. So it's cooked food, and then it's served on site to students. The menu is the same for all students. So you don't have like some kids who are eating, special food or things like that. So everyone is eating the same food. It's nutritious food. And then, it's your githeri and vegetables, rice and beans and vegetables. We serve chapati and beans as well. With vegetables as well. We serve fruit once a week, we serve meat once a week. So we're trying to make it varied and exciting for the children, but also cost effective, because we're providing 3,000 meals every single day, and that is expensive to do, yeah.
And how do you identify the schools that are beneficiaries of the program?
So our schools are based, because we work out of one kitchen, the criteria usually is based on proximity to the kitchen. So we produce and then distribute, and we have to distribute all the meals by 12:40, which is when lunchtime is for all the schools. So it's based on the route that we're on. So like right now, we're working on constructing another kitchen, and all the schools are selected based on proximity to the kitchen, yeah.
Okay, isn't that amazing, guys? Are you challenged? Okay, remember, you can join the conversation via the hashtag #RealTalkWithTamima. If you want to get in touch with any of the organizations that I've had on the show today, if you want to lend a hand to them, we're going to be putting their numbers at the bottom of the screen, so please check that out. If you want to reach out to Awira, Frederick, Dr. Charles, Valentine, perhaps get involved in any way, and sometimes getting involved could just be giving your time. Talking to someone who is looking to change their lives. It could be a kind word here, a connection here and there. There's really no price on giving. Giving, isn't that right, guys? It starts like that. And then with time, everything just falls in place. So on that note, we'll be taking a very quick break. When we come back, still more to come here on Real Talk. Welcome back to the show. I want to introduce my next guest, Shegewa Maratu, which means Shegewa Viatu, literally. So you're going to find out why his name is Shegewa Viatu shortly. And Alex, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So Shegewa Viatu, tuambie.
I want to thank you for having us and sharing all the great job that people are doing in our community. That means that we are in that level where we are not depending on government anymore. We can do it ourselves. So Shegewa Marato is now my real name. Previously I was Peter Chege. Then I donate shoes. I import shoes from Taiwan, China, Mtumba, the one you see in Gikomba. Before I started importing, I started by buying from Gikomba when I'm going out for a sensitization or doing any awareness, because Kenyans mkono mtupu hulambwi. So if you want to send a message out there, you have to come up with something that at least unasaidia at the same time, and the same time you're sending the message that you want to send. So I donated shoes. I've donated around, let's say 300,000 pairs of shoes countrywide. Through the organization that I founded called the Umoja Foundation Kenya, and through other partners. So we've reached people across the country. 2017, I got myself in, in Siasa. So I vied for a political seat in Nyandarua, my home county where I come from. And my opponent used to, sasa walikuwa wanasema ni kama ni kitu mbaya, ule jamaa wa maviatu, you know, ule jamaa yuapia viatu, because you know, when you're doing great stuff and you're in that field, they will try to crush you.
So did you win the seat?
Unfortunately, kura hazikutosha, but my intention was, you know, there is one time. Yeah, but I tried as a young leader.
Yeah.
My intention when I started charity, giving back to the community around 11 years ago, I've knocked so many doors. And some of the doors will make you even give up. So I went to one office here in Nairobi, and I had gone 10 times. So this was the 11th time. And I managed to get to the first secretary of that CEO. It's a very big organization in Kenya, actually in Africa. And when nilifika kwa hiyo secretary, akanambia, okay, umekuja sana hapa, but sasa niambie CEO we ni nani? Who are you? So then I thought, by the way, mimi ni nani? So Peter, who is Peter, you know? So I had a meeting with myself, and I was really looking for
some... You had a meeting with yourself?
Yes, with myself, and I was like, I think I need to look for something so that hii vision niko nayo na hizi dream niko nazo kusaidia community in my country zinaweza kuwa successful, or to get that help out there, because I don't have money, I don't have resources. So I decided to go for a political seat, so that if I win, half of my salary will go back to the community.
But where did the idea for giving out shoes come from? Why shoes? Of everything else you can give out, why
Tamima,
shoes?
I grew up in Nyandarua County, a place called Geta. Geta is in Aberdare Forest. So when I started nursery school, nilianza Mgutupu. We could not afford shoes. And everybody alikuwa nenda shule Mgutupu. So ilikuwa painful because baridi yenye iko Aberdare ni kama uko Europe. So you go barefoot to school. Baka unapata, sijui unaitaje na Kiswahili, but in Kikuyu we call them yatoka, is crack. You can even hide a note or a coin inside there. So it used to pain me a lot. So at class 3, my mom was able to buy me the first shoe. It was a very big shoe. So watu walikuwa wanaita big shoe. So mpaka nasikia hebu kwenda na viatu because I'm the only one. So when I said when I grow up, nikifanikiwa kwa maisha Mungu akinibariki, I'll never allow anyone to go barefoot. Again, I really love my country and youth in general. Mi upenda kuenda kuansisitizia. There is a lot we do with the organization, the Moja Foundation. We do a lot of awarenesses and creating and sensitization. So I chose shoe because I want everybody to have a shoe kwa mashinani. At the same time nataka kupass your message yenye nataka kupass. Let's say if it's creating awareness on drugs and substance abuse, so I'll first come with the shoes, then mtanisikiza, nitawaambia, and then from there umebenefit na vitu mbili. Umepata kiatu yenye maybe uko nayo, na kama ulikuwa nayo hiyo pesa ungebaia mtoto wako, ama wewe utaenda kubuy fertilizer or something else.
Right.
And at the same time umeget education.
Okay,
yeah.
And I know you work with Alex. So Alex, tell us a bit more about your program.
Okay. So I'm Alex. I'm a creative brand manager under the Moja Foundation, where we have four major pillars that we're dealing with. What I handle mostly is what we call a day with a child. You find that people tend to live out these destitute people. They're out there with their families, you're spending with their families, you're having fun. But this particular child doesn't even have an idea of where atapatio chapati. And that's all we tell about Christmas. So in this day with a child, we bring them together, we give them these particular avenues that other children are having. This is, for example, a bouncing castle. We give them the DJs, we give them artists to perform on the particular day. And at the same time, they get to have the perfect day as a child in this particular scenario that they are in.
So just to add on that, in our organization we also we have an initiative called YAD, that's Youth Against Drug, where we go to high school all over the country to sensitize guys. You know, when we started with a peace campaign called A Cry for Peace, or Kenya Pamoja, where we did these songs with Kenyan artists during 2007-2008 post-elections. And when we were going down there to talk to the youth, hiyo waache kupigana ndo waache kutumwa na politicians, we realized kuna shida ingine kubwa hata kuliko Kenya tunaenda kuwaambia. And this is when a politician come to incite you to go burn that church in Kiambaa or somewhere, they have to give you some money for alcohol. Ndio unaona mtu akona gasi ya kuchoma gari ya mtu, kuchoma nyumba ya mtu. So we go to all high school in Kenya. We've gone to about 150 schools so far around the country, trying to get this youth at least we'll make informed decisions.
Remember, tonight it's all about celebrating philanthropy, celebrating the spirit of giving back. And we've asked you all throughout the show, is there someone who has touched your life? Please let us know via the hashtag #RealTalkWithTamima.
Yeah.
Well, that's it from me tonight. This is obviously a huge topic, and I really hope that we have inspired someone out there to actually go out, give where you can. When you learn, teach. When you receive, please give. And if you want to get in touch with any of the organizations on the show, please reach out to me via @MissTamima on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. Plus, also you can tweet at the Switch TV handles @Switch TV. Let us know what your thoughts are. Plus, let us know on any topics you may want us to tackle on the show for future episodes of Real Talk. Well, that's it from me, Tamima, and the rest of the crew. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, good night.
Set.
Camera ni ile pale.
Hello.
Welcome again to another episode of The Real Talk.
Hello, welcome back to the show.
Welcome to The Real Talk with Tamima. My name is Margaret.
So,
welcome again. This is Real Talk with Tamima.
Welcome to the Real Talk with Carlton. You would believe today our guest, we have Tamima coming up.
Our guest is Tamima. Thank you.
Good evening. Welcome again to another episode of The Real Talk. We're here today with amazing guests, and the topic today is going to be giving back to the society. Welcome all.
Yay, good job.
Is it hard to give back to the society? Because today is all about giving back to the society. I hope we're going to enjoy the show. I'll be hosting it with Tamima herself. Sit back and let's enjoy the show. Thank you.